Welcome to Glioblastoma Strategies and Tactics with Eric Dysinger.
And welcome back. Now, I know in the last video I left you with a bit of a cliffhanger, and we'll get to that in a moment. First off, a short recap. So by now, I've developed and started my protocol. I've quantified it by reverse engineering Dr. Ben Williams' protocol and put it into my matrix system and found he is blocking all of the survival systems of glioblastoma as well as what is the intention of my protocol. And I started taking my protocol in May 2020 timeframe about that. It was after my April 2020 MRI where I had an active tumor of 2.6 centimeters, which was determined left over from surgery. And I wanted to do something, so I implemented my protocol. So all the drugs, supplements were ordered, and I started taking them about the May 2020 timeframe. So now I'm in the doctor's office in July, after my July MRI, about a week after that. And he walks into the room, head down, with the MI results in his hands. And the first words out of his mouth are, "Mr. Dysinger, this is good. In fact, this is very good." And I was shocked, but okay, he had my attention at this point. If I was a dog, my ears would be up. And what had occurred after the 2 to 3 months, my tumor shrunk, the blood-brain barrier was restored, and the metabolic activity of the tumor had stopped. So it was not alive anymore. Okay, now in May 2020, the MRI showed the tumor at its widest point was 2.6 centimeters. In this July MRI, and I have to read this, it was at 1.8 centimeters by 0.8 centimeters by 1.2 centimeters. So length, width, and height. Okay. This was a great result. They deemed it left over from the treatment, that the treatment was actually starting to work. I wasn't so sure of that at that time. Of course, I wanted to attribute it to what I was doing. But I was definitely going to carry on with what I was doing, because if it's truly treatment working, the farther I get away from treatment, which is about, my treatment ended in March of 2020. So we're at April, May, June, July, 4 months since treatment ended. I would expect that treatment would start to slow down, and if my protocol was working, I would continue to see the same results. Hopefully that sounds logical to you. Okay, so I continued on with the protocol. My next MRI was in October of 2020, and the doctor, my neuro-oncologist, walked in again. He goes, "We have some more great news. The tumor now is at 1.0 centimeter at the biggest point. It was at 1.8, now it's 1.0. And it was 0.6 centimeters wide and 0.9 centimeters high. So that's quite a reduction. I think it was about a 60-70% reduction in that 3-month time frame. Okay. We're now further past the treatment, but yet I'm still having great results. So is it standard of care treatment that's been over for a number of months now, 7 months, or is it my protocol doing this? But in any case, we're going to continue on. So the next MRI was in January of 2021. Results were red. He said 7.2. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. How do we go from 1.0 to 7.2? We're in millimeters now. We've gone from centimeters, it was 1.0 centimeter, to now 7.2 millimeters. If you want to convert that back to centimeters, that is 0.72. And that's at the widest point. It was 7.2 millimeters by 4.2 millimeters by 6.5 millimeters. So again, it was another 60% approximately reduction from the previous one. Hey, we're on a roll now. I'm going to continue the streak. You know, if I was in Vegas, I'd definitely keep rolling the dice at this point. So we get to April of 2021. It is reduced yet again. We're at 4.2 millimeters by 2.4 millimeters by 3.9 millimeters. I estimate it is the size of an eraser. Excuse me. This is why I never joined a circus for juggling. It is about the size of an eraser head on a pencil. July 2021 comes around. No measurements to report. The tumor is gone. Mission accomplished. My T2 flare is stable, looks good. Blood-brain barrier restored. I couldn't be happier at this point. I could not be happier. This is a very rare result. You don't really hear about this in groups and forums for glioblastoma. And you know, this is why I'm presenting it, because I'm presenting to you what I've done, my methodology, how I verified all this, how I executed this, and the results that I've had. So you can decide if it was the protocol. And to this date, my last MRI was in October of 2021, and it still remains no tumor and everything is back to normal. So this is a great result. These are the findings. I'm popping up my MRI clips to show that there's actual proof of these MRI measurements. And I'm very happy to report and share my experiences with you. And this is all based on blocking the survival systems of glioblastoma that are known. The first one is angiogenesis. This is the formation of blood vessels that the tumor does. There's apoptosis, which is cell death. There is the cell cycle, which is the intake of nutrients into the cell. There's drug resistance, how the cancer cells are able to protect themselves while you're going through chemo and radiation treatment. There is immune system. Your immune system is fighting this as best as it can, but it's a losing battle. But especially after going through resection and going through standard of care, it is very important to get your immune system back up. I track my blood results during my standard of care treatment, and you can see them dropping off. I was fortunate to get through it. They still stayed above minimum levels, so I was able to get through treatment without any pauses in treatment. But, I could see it took 6 months approximately after my standard of care treatment was over to get my immune system back up to normal. The next survival system is metastasis. This is the growth of the tumor cells, or of the tentacles, I'll call them, into other areas of the brain. These spread through the brain and they will pop up in other areas. That has to be controlled. There's proliferation. This is the growth of the cancer cells, and it's also the invasion of these tentacles through the brain. And you have to the last one is metabolism, which is the cell division process. How the cancer cells split and reproduce. So And my belief is you have to do all of this to control the disease. It is not just about controlling one thing. I've heard stories out there, if you control information, you control the disease. There are plenty of people that have done diets, anti-inflammatory diets and other type that have still had recurrences. It is not about controlling just the cancer cells. That is a losing battle. And I can give you a real life example of it, but it is apparent that cancer and tumor replicate at a faster rate than the body and medicine can fight the disease. So you have to do all of this stuff to control the disease. And I had thought about this just to give an example of why it's important to control everything. Everybody that owns a house with a lawn can relate to this. If you think of the tumor being a weed in your lawn, there is not just one thing or two things you can do to remove that weed from your lawn. Pulling the stem and then spraying it with herbicide or any popular weed killer, the weed is still going to grow back. Why? The root system is still there. It has invasion tentacles from those roots that are spreading through the ground. And if left uncontrolled, it is going to pop up somewhere else on your lawn, just as glioblastoma metastasizes in your brain. So, to give comparative examples, to fight the weed, you can block out the sunlight, stop watering the lawn. That's the food for the survival systems, for the metabolism and the cell division, sun and the water. The soil acts as a protectant to the root system to prevent the herbicides getting to the roots and killing it. That's why you could aerate the lawn so that the chemicals that you're using can get to the root system and give it a better chance of killing it. You put lawn carpet on top of the lawn around that area, and that prevents the metastasis of the invasion root system popping up and creating more weeds throughout your lawn. So if you think about it in that way, you have to, in my weed example, do many different things to rid yourself of that weed, if not an entire weed system. It has many different avenues to survive, just like glioblastoma. So, that's what I have for my results. I'm doing well. Like I said from my introduction video, I noticed this disease by losing my peripheral vision on the left side. I still deal with that deficit nowadays, but I'm still active. I was able to wean myself off Keppra because I'd never had a seizure and still have not had any to date. So that's my status. I have more topics coming up and more videos. I will post a bibliography of terms at the end of this video, as well as protocols I used, Dr. Ben Williams protocol, CUSP9 protocol, so that you have something that you can stop this video and take notes at your leisure. So until the next time, I'm Eric Dysinger, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.
Thank you for watching Glioblastoma Strategies and Tactics.